May 31st, 1982. Robert Frew is flipping burgers at a Memorial Day cookout with his family when something huge starts moving through the water right in front of his house. He grabs the family camcorder and hits record. What he caught is the only video evidence we have of the Chesapeake Bay's very own sea monster, Chessie. I'm Uncle Perry. I don't just tell stories. I dig up the fucked up ones most folks are too chicken shit to talk about. And I do it in a cavalier kind of way. From cryptids and government secrets to UFOs and aliens, I chase down the truth behind the legends. This week, we're diving into the most overlooked sea monster in America, the East Coast's own Loch Ness monster that nobody talks about, Chessie. Y'all ready to tear it up? Let's get it! The early era, military and civilian foundations. Let's dive head fucking first into the sightings that put Chessie on the map. We'll keep it real, a little skeptical where it's due, and tell it just like people told it back in the day. Most websites like to kick things off with the dramatic first sighting in 1936. A military helicopter crew flying over the Bush River looked down and saw something long, reptilian, and straight up unknown sliding through the water. Bush River feeds right into the Chesapeake Bay. The water in the Bush River only runs about 10 to 40 feet deep in the main channels, yet whatever Myers saw was big enough to spot from the air and strange enough for trained military personnel to describe it as reptilian. Cool story, except helicopters weren't really a thing yet. The first practical one flew in 1939, and the military didn't start using them until World War II. So either the date's off, the ride was something else, like a plane, or the whole tale got a little embellished over the years. Grain of salt? Probably. Fast forward to 1943, and something happened that's way harder to call bullshit. Two experienced fishermen, Francis Klarman and Edward Ward, are perch fishing in Baltimore's Inner Harbor, just 75 yards from shore. Out of nowhere, this fucking thing surfaces right off their starboard side. They said the part sticking out of the water was already 12 feet long, with a football-sized head shaped like a horse. And here's the part that still gives people chills. It turned its head almost all the way around, like an owl on steroids. No fins, no legs, just a thick, serpentine body disappearing under the surface. These guys weren't looking for fame. They were just two regular dudes who went home and told everybody they knew they'd just seen a damn sea monster. And after that, shit got quiet, but not dead quiet. Through the 50s and into the early 70s, you'd get the occasional fisherman spotting weird humps in the water or a long dark shape cruising under the Bay Bridge. Nothing made the papers big. People weren't exactly running to the news hollering about lake monsters back then. Shit, you'd get laughed off the dock. Then, in 1963, a helicopter test pilot named Walter Myers, flying out of Aberdeen Proving Ground, looked down at the same Bush River and saw a gigantic eel-like thing cutting through the water. Dude was so convinced, he wrote a letter that basically said, "I assure you that Chessie exists, or my eyes were deceiving me." So, yeah, from sketchy 1930s helicopter tales to two terrified fishermen watching a 12-foot neck twist like a horror movie, that's how Chessie started making people wonder what the hell is actually living in the Chesapeake Bay. The surge years, 1977 to 1980. Here's where Chessie stops being a one-off drunk fisherman's tale and turns into the summer everybody lost their damn minds. It really blows up in the summer of 77. Greg Hupka, a guy who's fished the Potomac his whole life, is out on the river when something huge surfaces close enough to him to make him damn near drop his rod. He gets a solid look at the dark head rising up, and when the experts later try to tell him it was probably a turtle, Greg shuts that shit down fast. "Hell no! I know every turtle, snakehead, and sturgeon in these waters. That thing wasn't any of them." No photo, but the guy had zero reason to lie, and his description lined up perfectly with everything that came next. Then 1978 explodes. Incredibly, 25 plus unofficial sightings in one single summer, 2 of them solid enough to end up in official reports. One fisherman at Calvert Cliffs watches something haul ass through the water so fast it kicked up a wake, but never broke the surface. Across the water in Westmoreland County, Virginia, the same story on the Potomac. 30 to 40 feet of dark brownish-green serpent, rolling humps, no fins, no bullshit. 1980 is when shit hit the fan. July. Laura and Norris Perry, plus a bunch of guests on the Olmsted Estate dock on the McGuffey River, watched 3 smooth, triangular, thick-ass humps cruise by in perfect spacing, 20 to 30 feet stem to stern. August. Rosamond Hayes out in Prospect Bay sees the same kind of creature and swears it sure as hell wasn't a manatee. September. More reports down by the Bay Bridge Tunnel near Virginia Beach. Long, dark, humped, and not even close to a manatee. People were obsessed with saying that because that's what the debunkers kept claiming it was. You've got Navy personnel, Coast Guard vets with a decade and a half of experience on the water, farmers standing on shore, weekend warriors in ski boats, all describing the exact same telephone pole thick dark serpent doing that slow, creepy hump dance across the surface. One Coast Guard officer basically threw his hands up. "I've seen every type of marine life in these waters. This was none of them." Whatever Chessie was, she wasn't splashing around in the kiddie pool. She was running the deep water highways. For a few wild years, the Chesapeake Bay had its very own sea monster, and half the bay could tell you exactly what it looked like. The 1980s, the game changer. May 31st, 1982, Kent Island. The Frew family is throwing a Memorial Day cookout at their place on Love Point. Burgers on the grill, kids running around, normal holiday shit. Around 7:30 p.m., Robert Frew glances out past the seawall and goes, "What the hell is that?" About 100 feet offshore, something long and brown is cutting through the water, doing that classic sea serpent side-to-side wiggle. No boat wake, no splashes, just smooth, deliberate S-curves like it's got somewhere to be and zero fucks to give about who's watching. Robert bolts inside, grabs the family camcorder, one of those big shoulder-mounted VHS beasts everybody had in '82, and starts rolling. For just under 2 minutes, he catches it. A dark, brownish shape, maybe 20 to 30 feet if you judge by how it pushes the water around, moving against the current in a perfect serpentine rhythm. No fins flashing, no tail flukes, no obvious head popping up for a selfie. Just a living, breathing question mark cruising past their backyard. Word spreads like your sister. The tape ends up on WMAR-TV in Baltimore, gets shown on the evening news, and suddenly, Chessie isn't a fairy tale anymore. People have footage. The Frews send a copy to the Smithsonian Institute because, well, they're trustworthy, right? The experts there huddle around the grainy tape, zoom in and click through to get the best frames. one of which actually cleaned up pretty decent. After a lot of chin stroking, their official verdict is basically, "Yep, that's a living animal. Beyond that, we don't know." They couldn't say what it was. They couldn't say it was a new species. They couldn't say it was just a hoax. Just alive and unidentified. In cryptid terms, that's a goddamn 5-star review. What makes the fruit tape hold up isn't fancy effects or screaming narration. It's how boringly normal it is. No dramatic music. Just a family filming something weird in their backyard and letting the footage speak for itself. In a world full of big mouth TikTok videos, that restraint is why 40 plus years later, people still pick up the enhanced still from the tape and go, "Okay, what the fuck are we looking at?" For one evening on Kent Island, Chessie photobombed a cookout and accidentally gave the Chesapeake Bay its best evidence yet. And the fruit tape? Turns out it cracked the dam wide open. That same summer of '82, more folks started talking. Reports started rolling in from all over the bay. A few miles off Cloverland Beach, another group swears they watched the exact same kind of long, wriggling shape. Near the Bay Bridge, boaters radioed in weird humps cutting the water. Suddenly, Navy guys, Coast Guard officers, commercial fishermen, even a couple of retired spooks, FBI and CIA types who'd spent their careers on the bay, were witnesses that were saying, "Yeah, I saw that thing too, years ago. Didn't say shit because, who'd believe me?" The floodgates were officially open. One minute, you've got a single grainy home video. The next, you've got seasoned pros admitting they'd kept quiet about their own run-ins because nobody wants to be that weird fucker who files a sea monster report. Fast forward 3 years to 1985, and the story gets even wilder. Two buddies are out fishing, hooked something that feels like a submarine, and when they turn around, this absolute unit explodes straight up out of the water like a goddamn missile. 12 feet of vertical serpent, busted fishing line dangling from its mouth, staring them down. Completely bricking it, they get a full-on look. Green-yellow reptilian skin glistening, barnacles crusted along its back, weird diamond-shaped flippers, and a thick ellipsoid body before it crashed back down and vanished. These guys weren't rookies. They'd been fishing the bay forever. They went home pale as ghosts and told anybody who'd listen they just stared into the eyes of the real deal. Whether the Frew video woke Chessie up or just gave everybody else the guts to speak about it, 1982 was the year the Chesapeake's quiet little secret stopped being quiet. After that summer, saying you saw Chessie didn't automatically make you the village weirdo anymore. It made you the latest name on a very long list. The 1990s to 2000s, Continued Sightings. 15 years after the fruit tape made everyone lose their shit, Chessie apparently decided she missed the attention. The summer of 1997, Fort Smallwood Park is packed with families. Kids splashing, sand up your ass, dogs shitting, the whole beach day vibe. Out of nowhere, something huge and dark starts cruising parallel to the shore less than 50 yards out. Multiple people on the sand drop their hot dogs and lower jaw. They saw several humps rolling, long serpentine body moving like it owned the damn place. It did no panic dives into deep water, no shying away from screaming kids and drunk fuckers on inner tubes. Whatever it was, it gave exactly 0 fucks about the audience. Then the 2000s roll in. Everybody's got a flip phone, then a smartphone glued to their hand. You'd figure Chessie would be all over YouTube by now, right? Wrong. Sightings drop off hard, kind of like your mom after that 7th Bloody Mary. Some say jet skis and mega yachts finally pissed her off into the deep water. Others think she said, "Fuck this shit," and swam out to the Atlantic and kept going. Or just checked out permanently. For a while, it felt like the legend was fading into creepy old guy bar stories. Until 2013, when shit gets weird again. Chessie caught on Sonar. This dude asks one of his buddies if he wants to go fishing with him in Chesapeake Bay. His buddy says, "Fuck yeah!" So off they go. Cut to them on the boat. November 11, 2013, 4:20 p.m. Yo, that's cosmic. Dude uses a fish finder, hey, no judging, and he's had pretty good luck with it for the past several years. While they were trolling, they could see lots of menhaden and striped bass flapping around below them. When they got to Bloody Point, he saw a very strange-looking return on his sonar depth finder. Way too big to be a fish. Those smaller blips you see on there are menhaden and striped bass. The explanations are all over the place. One dude said it's a seahorse. If that big-ass fucking thing is a seahorse, I'm just as interested in that as I am in Chessie. It's a manatee was another explanation. Manatees end their migration from Chesapeake Bay to Florida in November, so it's unlikely but possible. But they don't go that deep in November due to the water temperature at that depth. They stay close to shore. Besides, that thing doesn't have the head or a tail of a manatee. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. The 2014 sighting. April 5th, 2014, 1:40 a.m. Some dude and his buddy are parked on the side of Arundel Beach Road, right where it kisses the Maguffey River, and the tide is cranked up stupid high. Water's practically licking the guardrail. They're just chilling when, 5 feet from their car, something massive cruises through the black water. Dude later said at first he thought it was 2 animals tailgating each other. But nah, one single creature, 25 to 30 feet of pure snake-looking nightmare. Jet black, slender, football-shaped head barely breaking the surface. Ass end doing the same. Body whipping side to side in that hypnotic serpent wave. No fins, no scales that he could make out, just smooth, dark, and scary as hell. He's sitting there, brain buffering, trying to process what the fuck he's looking at. So, of course, the phone stays in his pocket. By the time reality reboots, Chessie's gone. But the guy was shaken enough that he actually called the Maryland Department of Natural Resources the next day and is like, "Yo, your water's got a dragon problem." That's the most recent confirmed report we've got. 1:40 in the morning, inches from the road. Zero room for log or manatee excuses. Just a pitch black, 30-foot water cobra minding its own business while 2 grown men have the holy shit moment of their lives. And here's the wild-ass part. Take that description and lay it next to the 1936 helicopter story or the very real 1943 fisherman, the Frew video, the Fort Smallwood beach cruise, and it's the same damn creature. Dark, serpentine, football head, 20 to 40 feet long, moving the same way. 8 decades, hundreds of witnesses, military, Coast Guard, fishermen, randos in cars and on the shore, and nobody's story changed. Either Chesapeake Bay is home to something with a mega huge lifespan, or there's a whole family of them, or we've got the most consistent sea monster encounters in America. 72 years of people seeing the exact same impossible shit and refusing to shut up about it. Chessie's still out there, and every once in a while, when the tide's high and the night's quiet, she reminds somebody she never really left. So after 8 decades of the same damn description, what the hell are we looking at? Time to break out the theories, starting with the ones that try to keep this shit boring. Let's pump the brakes on the dinosaur fantasies for a minute and talk about what Chessie might really be. 70 plus years of stories, 0 bodies, 0 clear photos, and still no smoked specimen on a lab table means we gotta run through the boring possibility list before we break out the unknown species bingo card. Number 1 suspect, manatees. Yeah, those big gray sea cows from Florida sometimes take a wrong turn at Richmond and vacation in the Chesapeake Bay when the water's warm. They're chunky, weird-looking fuckers, and from a distance at dusk, and if you squint just right, they can kinda sorta look serpentine. In 1980, Trudy Guthrie sketched what she swore was Chessie. Biologists took one look and went, "Lady, that's a manatee." In 1994, they actually fished a real one out of the bay, named the poor bastard Chessie, and shipped him back south. USGS still logs the occasional manatee sighting up there. But here's why manatees don't close the case. They glide smooth as hell, no S-curves. The biggest ones top out around 13 feet, not 40. They've got pudgy, fat-looking animal faces, not horse heads that spin around like The Exorcist. So manatees explain some of the chunky, close-to-shore sightings, sure. They don't explain Coast Guard officers watching a telephone pole-thick serpent do laps in deep channels. Next up, giant eels or oarfish. American eels are already snaky-looking and live there, but even the monster-sized eels barely hit 5 feet long. Oarfish, however, are legit sea serpent cosplayers. Ribbon bodies, 20 plus feet, easy. But they live 1,000 feet down in the open Atlantic, not cruising the 20-foot shallows of the McGuffey River. When they do show up inshore, they're usually half dead and floating. Last-ditch ideas. Otters holding hands. Adorable, but they break formation the second you sneeze. Atlantic sturgeon. Big but bottom feeders with shark tails, not humps. Seals. Wrong shape, wrong behavior. Or some asshole's escaped pet anaconda that hitched a ride on a banana boat. All of those can trick somebody once. None of them tricked Navy pilots, Coast Guard vets, and sober fishermen for 8 straight decades into describing the exact same 30-foot dark-humped serpent. So yeah, misidentifications happen. Manatees stole the show a few times, but when the descriptions stay consistent across that many trained eyeballs and that much time, something's still swimming around out there that the field guide forgot to mention. Alright, skeptics had their turn. Now, let's talk like the lights are low and we're cracking open a cold one on the dock. Because the believer side actually makes a hell of a lot of sense when you lay it all out. First up, the classic. Chessie's a goddamn dinosaur that missed the extinction memo. Plesiosaur with the long neck and paddle flippers. Or a mosasaur, basically a 50-foot sea crocodile with serious anger issues. Both used to own warm, shallow seas exactly like the Chesapeake Bay used to be back when it was a giant, flooded river valley. The idea is a tiny pocket hung out in deep ocean trenches for 66 million years, popping into the bay every once in a while for blue crab buffets. The bay's got 100-foot deep channels that lead straight to the Atlantic. Easy highway in and out. Problem is, where the hell are the bodies? You'd think one would beach, get hit by a container ship, or at least cough up a tooth by now. Still, when people describe horse heads and diamond flippers, you can't unsee the plesiosaur sketch. Second, and honestly my favorite, Chessie's just a giant-ass eel or serpent we haven't put in a textbook yet. We're still finding new whales, new sharks, new everything. Coelacanth was extinct for millions of years until some fisherman yanked one up in 1938. Giant squids were fairy tales until we got them on camera in 2004. The ocean's big, murky, and doesn't give a shit about our checklists. An intelligent, air-breathing, 30-foot predator could slip through the bay for decades and never get netted. Consistent size, color, and behavior for over 70 years? That screams real animal, just one we haven't named yet. Third possibility, she's not even a local. Chessie's a migratory badass from the deep Atlantic who swings by when the striped bass are running thick or when the water's just right. That explains the explosion years, 78, 82, when suddenly everybody and their uncle saw her. Then, poof, gone for a decade. More boats, more noise, more shit in the water. She just says, fuck this, and stays offshore. Whale sharks do it. Great whites do it. Why not something else? Look, none of these are going to make you sound totally sane at Thanksgiving dinner. But stack up all the years of matching stories from people who can tell a buoy from a bull shark, and that unknown giant serpent starts to feel a lot less crazy than everybody's just hallucinating shit. So here we are, 70 plus years of stories, a strange sonar pic, a weird-ass grainy video, and still not a single tooth, bone, or carcass to slap on a lab table. Nobody knows what Chessie is. Not really. And that's probably never going to end. What blows my mind is how goddamn consistent the sightings stayed. 1936 military guys calling it reptilian. 1943 fishermen watching a horse-headed thing twist its neck like a horror prop. 1980 Coast Guard officers staring at telephone pole humps that they can't identify. The Frew tape in 82. That poor dude at 1:40 a.m. in 2014, 5 feet from his car, watching a 30-foot black serpent slither past his headlights. Same length, same color, same depiction every single time. Decades apart, different people, different jobs, same exact monster. Skeptics say manatees, otters, oarfish, logs, whatever. Some sightings, sure, those fit. Most of them, hell no. Believers say plesiosaur, mosasaur, unknown species, a giant eel, deep-sea visitor popping in for snacks. Cool stories, zero bodies. The Chesapeake Bay is 200 miles of murky highways with trenches that drop off into the Atlantic. There are 3,600 known species of critters down there and new ones still turning up. Is there enough room for something big to stay hidden down there? Abso-fucking-lutely. Maybe she died. Maybe she left. Maybe every sighting was just the bay fucking with us. Or maybe something's still sliding through those deep channels when nobody's looking. That's the kick in the nuts. We've mapped Mars in 4K, cracked DNA like it's a Lego set, but we can't explain what hundreds of sober, trained people swear they saw in the same area of water for damn near a century. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Some shit should stay unsolved. Are you a fan of weird-ass monsters, government conspiracies, aliens, or UFOs? Then tap that like button and subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on more of my fucked up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. Do you consider Chessie a bona fide sea monster, or just a big snake or eel? Let me know down in the comments. And if you're ready to crank that shit all the way up to 11, that join button's got your name on it. For just $2.99, you can have my back in a huge way. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.